Hey, how's it going? And today we're just going to be playing around with bullet dynamics. I'm going to be showing you how to create a stack of blocks and crash a ball into it and make it all fall over. So it's a fun little quick project to do, and of course there's a lot of other applications you can use this for. Let's get started. So I'm in Modeler, I'm starting to Modeler, and the first thing I want to do is I just want to create a ground plane or floor. So I got the box tool selected and I'm just going to click and drag, and to make sure everything's nice and neat, I'm just going to click on the numeric panel here, and I'm just going to type in 10 for width, 10 for depth, and for height we're just going to say 0.1, and then I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I have created it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save object, and I'm going to save it as, I'll just call it floor 5, okay, and just go save. Alright, and then I'm done in Modeler. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch to layout. I'm not going to send the object to layout. I just want to switch to layout for right now. Okay, and here we are in layout. The first thing that we want to do is create our first block, and then we're going to clone that block, and then we'll bring in the ground plane and go from there. The first thing we're going to do is we're, with the items tab selected, we're going to come to null, and we're going to call this block, because that's what it's going to ultimately be. And there's our null object. Now if we come down to the properties down here on the bottom, if we go to shape and then we go to cube, it's going to create that primitive type for us. And I'm just going to leave everything at the default and close that. Great. Now let's go ahead and load in that ground object that we just made. So we come down here to load object, and I'm just going to go open, and there is that. So now I've got my block, my first block, and I've got my ground plane. So what I'm going to do here right now is I'm going to hit D on the keyboard, and I'm going to switch my view to double vertical. Let's see here. On this left side, I'm going to turn this into VPR, and then here I'm going to switch from current camera view to right view, and then I'm going to come up here and click and drag on that so I can see what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to rest this block on that ground plane. Oops, I got the floor selected. I don't want that. So let me come here and I'll click block, and I'm just going to drag that up until it looks right to me. And looking in VPR and looking at this, that looks right to me. Making sure I've got block selected. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and just switch back to perspective view, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit there. There we go, right about there. Okay, so now we basically got our objects, but they're not going to be able to do anything, so we need to assign some things to them. So we're going to come up here to FX Tools, and I just make sure you're on the block item, it's selected, and make sure that bullet enable dynamics is selected, and then we click on rigid body. And it doesn't look like much has happened, but we've actually assigned a rigid body to that. So what we're going to do, you can come up here to item properties, and you can see that the rigid body type has been assigned to the object block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and click on floor, select floor, and that's selected, and then we're going to assign that a static body. There we go. So that's all assigned. If I were to hit play right now, of course nothing much is happening. We haven't really animated anything. But if I come over here and I click, oops, I got the floor selected again. That's not what I wanted. Come here and select the block, and I click the block. Now if I hit play, so that's cool, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let me just drag this back to the first position, and I'm going to drag this block down to the floor. Again, rest it on the floor like that, and then we're going to make some clones of this block. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come over here to items and go to clone current item, and we'll just say 3, and we're on the block, right? Now if we come down, it doesn't look like, again, anything's happened, but if we come over here to our list, we see that it's made the block. So this is the best way to select them. We'll click here, we're on block 2, and I'm just going to drag it up like that. Maybe I'll rotate it a little bit. I just turned maybe not that way, maybe that way. And then I'll come back here and I'll select block 3, and I'm just turning my scroll wheel to switch between my options there. And I'll drag that up to there. I'll turn my scroll wheel, and I'll just kind of make these look a little different by rotating them. And then I'll come down here and select the last block and turn my scroll wheel, and I'm going to drag that up and put that right about there. And I'll turn my block a little bit now. So now if I go back to frame 1 and I hit play, cool, all my blocks fall. So that's pretty cool. Now once I got that set up, if I come over here and I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit here. Now I'm gonna make sure you move this back to the first frame. Now we're gonna go over to null object and we're gonna call this ball and go OK. And that's created another null object, and I turn my scroll wheel and I'm just gonna move this out of the way here. I'm gonna move it over here in the corner. And what I might want to do is I might want to go to the top view here to just make sure I'm still on where I want to be. Go back to perspective, and then I'll come down here to properties, and I'm going to go to shape, keep it as sphere, and just leave it like that, and hit close. And there's a ball. You can see it's looks a little sunken into the ground. Yep. So what we can do is just move it up a little bit here and set it like it looks more like it's on the ground. So maybe like that. It's a little bit better. Here what we could do is just come in here to the right view, zoom in, and this way we could really get it right. A little bit higher like there. There we go. That looks good. Okay, and then I'll go back to perspective view. Okay, and then I'm going to drag this playhead here to where all the balls are resting. They've all landed, like right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this up, and then I'm going to go to top view here, and then I'm just going to drag this over here so that it's hitting this thing like that. And I can double check it over here by looking at my perspective view, make sure it's crashing in. Okay, we're almost done, believe it or not, but I'm going to go back to perspective view. And there we go. Okay, so now all we have to do is just two things, is make sure with I'm going to go back to the first position here, and I'm going to go back to FX tools, and I'm going to go assign this a rigid body. And then if I go into item properties, click here, item properties. Let's see. Wait, is this it down here? Okay, here it is. Okay, you can see everything is there. Everything's been assigned, right? And now I'm still on the ball. I come to activation, and I'm going to put this on activate on last key, close that, and then if I hit play, this is what happens. Cool. Now that looks a little slow, right? So what we can do to fix that is come over here. If we hit O on the keyboard, we can go down to play at exact frame rate, and we can then bump this up to play this back at 200%. And that'll make it look a little bit more realistic. So here we hit play again, and there you go. This is a really cool feature to play around with. So that's Bullet Dynamics in LightWave 2018. I hope you found this helpful, and take care and have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.